point. Okay, all English speakers plus Scandinavian speakers equals to Middle English, results to Middle English. Okay, next. Okay, the researchers proved from these characteristics, they have proved that English is actually a Scandinavian language. The first characteristic is Scandinavian syntax. They they wanted to show that, hi?
Hello.
They wanted to show that wherever English has the same structure as the Scandinavian language, they wanted to prove that English it's not the same with West Germany. It's not the same as Old English, but instead Scandinavian. So the example is, in English and Scandinavian, the object is placed after the verb. I have put them in color. So I have read the book. This one is a Scandinavian language. I don't know how to pronounce this, but I have colored it so you can see where the subject, verb, object is placed. They're the same, right? Between modern English and Scandinavian language. And it differs from German and Dutch and Old English, which they put the verb at the end. This is the noun. Have this book. Can you see? It's different from German. Okay? Do you get this? Are you clear about this? Okay. Next. The next example is English and Scandinavian can have a split infinitive. Split infinitive is when we insert a word between the infinitive marker and the verb. I've colored this. The word is in blue, infinitive marker is in red, and the verb is in purple. I promise to never do it again. So the infinitive marker is between two and do, and it's the same with Scandinavian language. You can see. Okay, next. The second characteristic is actually English. We know that English adopted many words from different languages, right? Japanese, French, what else? Germany. They adopted many words from the Danelos inhabitants who were of Norwegian and Danish accents. Where Norwegian are from Norway, and Danish is from? Okay, they are part of the Scandinavian. Okay, very good. The example there is, he took the knife and cut the steak. The words in yellow are the only ones. The words in yellow are actually from Scandinavian language. Only he, the, and an are from Old English. Okay? So English adopted words from day-to-day things. English didn't just, usually people adopted words and created a new category for that word. But in English, they adopted words and they added to these day-to-day things. So some of the examples of the words that are adopted from Scandinavian are these. These are the words that are adopted from Scandinavian. Ankle, back, bit, bird, cake. There are many of them. Okay, next. So, to put it simply, that we know that English and the Scandinavian languages are actually from the same core language family because they share several similarities that were explained before. So these two researchers, the language specialists before, concluded that Middle or Modern English actually groups with North Germany, which is Scandinavian, rather than with West Germany, which is Old English. Okay? And it might be true that this theory that Scandinavian is actually the origin of the English, it might be true that it was due to the Scandinavian people who settled in British Isles at that time. But to put it simply, actually modern English is actually the combination of West Germany and North Germany. Just like I said before, the formula is Old English plus Scandinavian equals to Old English is from
West Germany.
and Scandinavian is from
Germany.
so it equals to modern English. So actually modern English modern English is the combination of both West and North, not just West or not just North. Okay, you just need to understand this. Okay, next. Okay, that's all from me. Thank you. Hello. Okay. Hi, and assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Sharifah Aisyah binti Alawi Aisyah. Okay, and then this is the basic history of English. Before English, Old English, Middle English, Early Modern English, and Late Modern English. But today, I only elaborate about Old English. Okay. Okay. The golden age of Old English. Okay, so why golden age? Why not silver age? Why not bronze, platinum, and whatsoever? Why golden age? Okay, why? Okay. Okay. So Plato said that the golden age is not simply a goal, that pure goal, but that the term should be understood metaphorically. So in other words, the best time of that certain period. Okay. Okay, so this is the examples of the golden age, the Islamic golden age between 8th to 14th century. Various parts of the world with different cultural background were maintained together and translate all the world classical knowledge into Arabic. So the one who with the knowledge come to one place and gather and translate like that. So for India, the golden age of India, from 3rd to 6th century, they did develop a large achievement, which is they achieve mathematics, astronomy, and sculpting. So this is So this is basically the picture of the scholars. And as I was saying, a brief from the Mahkamah of Arili Aliyah Ibn Abu Siti Baghdad was Okay. So Old English. What is Old English? Okay. Old English is the language of Anglo-Saxon. We all know that, and it is an inflected language with Germanic vocabulary. Inflected language, which is there is the change of form in terms of grammar. So it is very, very, very different from the modern English. So what is the history of the Old English? Okay, Old English, the earliest known resident of British Isles, which is the Celts. Okay, you all know that. So they use Celts language. Celts language basically is family inside of Indo-European language. So after British Isles invaded and conquered by various people, they brought their language and custom as they settled in their new life. So that's why there's many language. Okay. So this is the main events of the Old English, golden best time, right? Okay. At the end of 6th century, England became a veritable beehive of scholar activity. So veritable, it is emphasis on the scholar activity. So there is many famous monasteries such as Canterbury, Glastonbury, and York. The centers where men such as Oldham, Bede, and Alcuin pursued their studies. So you know monasteries, right? Just now, okay. So you also know Venerable Bede. Venerable Bede largely responsible in contributing to scholarship and literature. King Alfred, you also know King Alfred, right? The brother of King Alfred, the successors of the royal house of Wessex. So this is the monastery: Canterbury, York, Blackberry. So this is Adam. Not Adam. Adam. Okay, Queen and B. So I don't know if it is the Alfred or Alfred because I only see this picture. I think Alfred and Alfred use the same picture. I think. Okay, so after this, okay, you can say, okay, I know that guy. Okay. Yeah. Okay. So the literature in Old English period. Old English rich in poetry. So Catman is a person, okay? Catman, which is the first English poet. He is a herdsman. You know herdsman? The one who, okay. From the 7th century, he introduced a new genre of poetry, which is express Christian subject in the style of old pagan Scots. Old pagan Scots? Which one is okay? Pagan is the one who religious belief beside the main religious at that time. But Scott is the Scott is the storyteller for word. So okay, Beowulf. Okay. Okay, Beowulf. It is probably composed in early 8th centuries, written in the epic tradition. It is the scene, maybe the scene. Scene is larger than life. They have dragons, they have monsters and so on. Right. So Beowulf, it is known by the worldwide. Do you know the story of Beowulf?
Yes.
The plot, you know. Okay. J.R.R. Tolkien. J.R.R. Tolkien is the writer of the Lord of the Rings. He signs four of his poems in unit letter. Okay, someone will explain later. Unit letter as a clue to his authorship. Just like now have sign event, right? So like that, sign. Okay, so that is Catman, and this is the wolf. Okay, this is the series of the Lord of the Ring, and this is the writer of Lord of the Ring. Okay, so in English language is the one of the most highly vernacular tongues in Europe. French did not become literary language until the conquest happened. Okay, so English culture more advanced than any other Western Europe. Norman conquest and in first period in history of England, and its language is defeated. So that's why we use English. So Normans realized that the Scandinavian invaders who had preceded, which is the Scandinavian who comes before them, were ultimately to become English. Okay, so this is the summary of Beowulf. Enjoy.
Okay, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. And hi everyone. My name is Fatina Aida Aina binti Abdullah. Okay, do you want another take 5? Okay, we are running late. Okay. So this is the historical background of English dialect. We have Old English, Middle English, and Modern English, but I will present on the dialects of the Old English, which is from 449 to 1100 AD. Next. Okay, so what is dialect? Dialect is a speech and language pattern used by a group of people in a geographic location. Okay, for example, we have many dialects, right? In Malaysia, we have Terengganu, Sabah, and everywhere. Okay. Okay, and dialects reflect slight differences in pronunciation, vocab, and speech rate. Okay, how dialects differ from the accent? Dialects, they have differences in pronunciation and vocab. As for the accents, it differs only pronunciation. Yes. Okay. For example, I have one of my friends from Pahang. They call baiki. They call bela, which is baiki. Yeah. Right. We have Pahang here. Yeah. You call bela.
Yeah.
Baiki, right? We call bela. We call baiki. We don't call bela. Okay, so there is no correct. Okay, so for the dialects of the Old English, there are 4: Northumbrian, Mercian, Kentish, and West Saxon. And the West Saxon is the most influential in Old English period. Okay, next. Okay, as you can see, the Northumbrian is spoken in the north part of the England. Next. And the Mercian is in the midland of the England, in the central. Next. Kentish is on the southwest of the England, and West Saxon is on the west south of the England. Okay, as you can see, there are black boundary there, which means that they speak the same language, but they use different dialect, that is the dialect boundary. And the right one is the language boundary. Okay, as for the West Saxon, there are early West Saxon and late West Saxon. For the early West Saxon, the language employed by King Alfred and referred to as Alfredian Old English or Alfredian. Okay, on the early West Saxon, the dialect is not used in a written language. For the late West Saxon, it is established. Okay, after the Norman conquest, the dialect established itself as a written language and replaced the Alfredian language. Okay, which means that after the Norman conquest, the late West Saxon dialect it is used in a written language, and it is the first standardized written English. And at that time, all scribes wrote and copied manuscript in this written form. Okay, so Beowulf and the Judith is the example of the poem at that time. So the dialects of the Old English, the difference was slight as compared with those that were later to develop, which means there are not, and we are not at great disadvantage when we study the West Saxon dialect in relation to most modern English, because the differences in dialect were not that great. If we study the West Saxon, because the Old English forms are usually cited from West Saxon rather than Mercian, so we are not at the great advantage if we study the West Saxon dialect. Okay, so this is the example of the Northumbrian and West Saxon dialect. Okay, for example, we pronounce as they, and for the Northumbrian, they pronounce as doi. Doi. And for the West Saxon as die. Okay, die. For the grass, the Northumbrian pronounced as gares. And for the West Saxon, gares. For the father, father. And fader. Okay, next. And for the Kentish dialects, okay, you can pronounce by yourself. Because I don't really know how to pronounce that. And for the Mercian, I can't find the examples because it don't contain the alphabet. Okay, that's all. Thank you.
So, hi guys. Okay, I'm introducing myself again. My name is Linaja binti Mama Ikhwan, and I'm going to explain about the alphabet and the pronunciation of Old English. The Old English alphabet, it is the earliest appearance of Old English language are found in inscriptions. Do you guys know what is inscription? In Malay, inscriptions mean ukiran. Okay, it is written using the unique Tutoric alphabet. I will show it to you guys later. Okay, this alphabet was an extended version with between 26 to 33 letters. Okay, the runes were used probably from the 5th century AD until about the 10th century. And runic inscriptions are mostly found on jewelry, weapons, stones and other objects. And only about 200 such inscriptions have survived. And most of the inscriptions have been found in eastern and southern England. Okay, this is the example of the runic Tutoric alphabet. It has 33 letters. Once it started to be more commonly used for writing, the alphabet was adopted and adapted. The grapheme, we pronounce it as ash, came to stand as a full letter on its own. Okay, next one. Two runes, which are tone and wind, were retained to represent sounds with no corresponding